Hi everyone, I'm going to try to give you a quick update on this vanishing point since the school computer was being very difficult. Once you find we're going to use this building file that I have in Blackboard to practice, but when you're doing it on your own, find an example of a building that has two sides showing to it. You have to have perspective to be able to practice this. Create a blank layer by clicking on the plus sign and rename it Vanishing Point Layer. It's going to be an empty layer right now. And then what we want to do is enter the filter called Vanishing Point, and we get a whole new window of tools that show up here. And the first step, they have the tool already selected for you to create the plane, and you're supposed to click on the four corners to create this perspective. So we're going to show Photoshop what it looks like. If you hold the letter X while you're doing this, it zooms you in. So I'm going to start right here, here. Again, if you hold letter X, shows you the plane, or it zooms in rather. So that's setting up my first plane, and if I want I can extend it out to the left and up, or I can do that later also. Then to tear off the perspective and go the other direction, to tear off a new perpendicular plane, we need to hold the command button while we hover over this center bounding point. So here's regular, here's holding command, you get a different tool. Holding command, pull on that and pull to the right to the end of the building. And then with this black selection tool, you can tweak this. So you can say, okay, this is what I want to use for perspective. This can be up in here, or I can go up to the top of the building and change my bottom perspective too. You can come over to this side and do the same. You can make your grid go up higher. Wherever you're going to do your work, you're going to want to cover it in this grid. So we're going to be working in this area with some windows and removing this sign, and then we're going to be working on this side of the building, putting in a pinstripe painting. So just make sure that the perspective planes on these two pieces are where you want that, and that's your first step of the process. Okay, the next thing we want to do is get rid of this Franklin sign. So we're going to use the marquee tool, and in this special vanishing point window, it actually will marquee in perspective. So you can feather it more, and you can change the healing process, which we'll look at in just a minute. So now we're going to also hold command, and when we drag to the left to this area, it's going to behave like the patch tool, and we're going to patch it with this clean area of the building right here. Shift is just going to hold it level so it doesn't bump up or down. So shift command drag, and unfortunately I'm not seeing my marquee go with me as a nice preview, but I'm guessing this is about the area I want to let go. And I'm going to let go, and hopefully in a second it is going to, there we go, it's going to do a pretty decent job of that. There are some lag issues going on here because in past times when I've done this, every time I move that marquee it would show me and give me a live preview of what it was going to fix in here. So unfortunately this is pretty hard here with 2020 or with our slow machines. I'm not sure what the issue is, but holding the command key makes it act like the patch tool. And here's where you can change. This is a live, as long as the selection marching ants are still there, this is a live selection. We can change our opacity of this, and we can change, of course it's going to take forever to preview, the healing. We can go from off. When you have that option, it does not try to blend the source with the destination. If you choose luminance, it blends the brightness only. And if you choose on, it's going to blend brightness and color. On and off tend to work best. You can try these. Again, you'll have to wait a few seconds for it to update, but that's what you can do. The next thing we're going to do, and once we go away from this selection, we can't go back to it. So now we're going to move over to this plane, and with our selection tool, we're going to marquee one of these windows, and make sure you get a little breathing room around it. I'm not doing a very good job. There we go. So marquee select one of these windows, and we're just going to show you how we can make a copy of it. So we're going to hold Shift to keep it on that same level plane, but this time we're going to hold Option or Alt on a PC to make a copy of it as we pull it over onto this side. So Shift, Option, and we're going to pull the window around. Notice how it rounded the corner, and mine tends to freeze out every time I get at this point. So I'm just going to position it hopefully right where you see the black arrow and let go and hope that that worked. Again, the preview isn't very good at all, but hopefully it's going to work. And there it is. Not perfect, but it's not terrible. I'll try to move it down a little, again, without a preview. It's awfully hard to tell what's going on, but we can try. The problem that we see here is that the perspective is wrong. We wouldn't expect this hard edge on this side. We would expect it over here, and we would expect to be able to see into the window going this direction, like this perspective. So that's something that we need to change. To do that, we're going to use the transform tool. So we're just going to push T, up there, it caught up, T on your keyboard to get into transform, and we're going to choose to flop it, which is going to turn it the other direction. So it'll probably take 10 minutes to do that, but it should work. And then we could also resize this window or move it around as needed. I'm going to attempt to move it up a smidge, but again, because it's so slow, I don't know what's going on. The next thing that we're going to do when that catches up, okay, now that that caught up and it flopped it, you can see it's kind of a little too big, so in the transform tool we would want to shrink it down a bit, and again, that'll probably take forever. Alright, and to make a copy of this, we'll do exactly what we did before. Shift to hold it straight, Option to copy, and we'll just drag out here to the left and let go. And with any luck, that will work. Of course, it's going to take a while, but we can hope. Oh, whenever I click on a new tool, it tends to wake up and catch up. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a pinstripe over here in Fun. Brush tool. Inside this plane, we should be able to hold Shift. I don't know why it started up there. And draw a straight line. If nothing else, the fact that I'm bending around the building and it worked is kind of a cool feature. This should just be a green line right here. Not sure, for the love of me, why this is not working, but I'm kind of done trying. So, hopefully your version and your computer isn't as glitchy as this and you're able to play around with this a little bit. It's not something you use every day, but it's a nice feature that you might want to know about. But the important parts are setting up your grid first, holding Command to pull out a perpendicular grid, and then when you draw in perspective or heal in perspective, holding Command will act like the patch tool and heal, and holding Option or Alt will act like it always does and make a copy of whatever's within your marquee. So there's a quick little demo. I do want you to get a picture on your own and play around with this and give it a try. I just need a PSD so that I can enter your vanishing point and see an example. I can turn it on and off basically and see what you did. So if I were to upload this, I could turn this off and see here's the original picture, and in the vanishing point filter, you added windows and a bunch of crazy pinstripes. So that's what I'm looking for on a new picture that you find online somewhere. Thank you and enjoy.